night, about midnight.
7 gripping seasons, in the heat of the night, brought crime drama to life with unforgettable performances. But behind the scenes, the cast faced real-life struggles as intense as the cases they solved on screen. From tragic addictions to shocking, untimely deaths, the stories of these actors reveal a side of Hollywood rarely seen by fans. This series made stars out of its leads while giving veteran character actors some of their most memorable roles. Carroll O'Connor's Chief Gillespie became iconic. Howard Rollins Jr. broke barriers as Virgil Tibbs, and Carl Weathers brought new energy in later seasons. Yet fame came at a cost. Some battled personal demons, others faded into obscurity, and a few met heartbreaking ends. The show's legacy lives on through reruns. But what became of the faces that made it special? Why did one star take his own life at just 32? How did another's groundbreaking career end in tragedy? And which actor spent his final years fighting to clear his name? As we examine these 10 performers, you'll discover the shocking truth about Carroll O'Connor's family tragedy, Howard Rollins Jr.'s devastating fall from grace, Carl Weathers' surprising second act after leaving the show, the heartbreaking story of a young actor's downward spiral. Their on-screen characters fought for justice. But for 8 seasons, Carroll O'Connor commanded the screen as Chief Bill Gillespie, creating one of television's most memorable lawmen. But behind his authoritative presence lay a personal tragedy that would haunt him until his final days. Born in 1924 to a strict Irish Catholic family in New York, O'Connor nearly became a teacher before catching the acting bug. His breakthrough as Archie Bunker in All in the Family made him a household name. But it was in the heat of the night that proved his dramatic range. The role earned him 4 Emmy nominations and cemented his status as a television legend. Yet off-camera, O'Connor battled every parent's worst nightmare. His adopted son Hugh, who played Officer Lonnie Jameson on the show, struggled with severe drug addiction. Despite multiple rehab attempts and O'Connor's very public crusade against drug dealers, Hugh tragically took his own life in 1995 at age 32. The loss shattered O'Connor, who channeled his grief into aggressive anti-drug activism, even testifying before Congress. Financially successful with a Malibu home and luxury car collection, O'Connor's wealth couldn't heal his wounds. His marriage to Nancy Fields endured, but friends noted he was never the same after. When Howard Rollins Jr. stepped into the role of Detective Virgil Tibbs, he made television history as one of the first black actors to headline a primetime crime drama. His magnetic performance should have launched him into Hollywood's elite, but behind the scenes, a darker story was unfolding. The Baltimore native first gained acclaim for his Oscar-nominated turn in Ragtime, 1981, proving his dramatic chops. His casting in the heat of the night was groundbreaking. But the pressure of being a black pioneer in 1980s Mississippi took its toll. As production relocated from California to the Deep South, Rollins began self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. By 1993, his personal demons became impossible to ignore. Multiple arrests for drug possession and DUI charges forced producers to write him out of the show. In a heartbreaking twist, Rollins was replaced by Carl Weathers just as the series hit its peak popularity. Friends reported he became increasingly isolated, tormented by what might have been. Tragically, Rollins never got his second act. In 1996, at just 46 years old, he succumbed to AIDS-related lymphoma in a New York hospital. The entertainment world mourned a talent gone too soon, while rumors swirled about his final years of struggle. Today, Rollins is remembered as both a pioneer and a cautionary tale. His Virgil Tibbs broke barriers for black actors in dramatic roles, influencing everyone from Denzel Washington to Idris Elba. The NAACP posthumously honored him with an Image Award, cementing his legacy as an artist who opened doors even as his own life spiraled out of control. When Carl Weathers joined in the heat of the night as Chief Hampton Forbes in 1993, he brought with him the same electric presence that made Apollo Creed legendary. But few knew this action star was fighting private battles that would test his resilience long after leaving Sparta. The former Oakland Raiders linebacker turned actor first dazzled audiences in the Rocky franchise. His transition to television should have been smooth, but behind the scenes, Weathers faced a different kind of fight. 3 failed marriages left him emotionally drained, with his dedication to craft often coming at the expense of personal relationships. The ring was simpler, he once confessed. You either got up or stayed down. Weathers' tenure on the show proved controversial among fans who missed Howard Rollins Jr., but his professionalism never wavered. Between takes, he mentored young cast members while privately grappling with Hollywood's fickle nature. Financial success came. His Venice Beach home and car collection were the envy of peers, but stability proved elusive. In later years, Weathers found peace through directing and voice work, most notably as Grief Karga in The Mandalorian. His 2024 passing from cardiovascular disease at 76 shocked fans worldwide, coming just as he was enjoying a career renaissance. An autopsy revealed advanced heart damage, likely from his football days. Today, Weathers' legacy. When Hugh O'Connor first appeared as Officer Lonnie Jameson alongside his real-life father Carroll O'Connor, audiences saw a charming young actor with limitless potential. But beneath the boyish smile and crisp police uniform raged a personal war that would end in unthinkable tragedy. The adopted son of television royalty, Hugh grew up in the glare of Hollywood spotlights, yet never comfortably wore the mantle of fame. His 1988 casting on In the Heat of the Night seemed a dream opportunity, until the pressures of working with his legendary father and living up to expectations triggered a devastating heroin addiction. Crew members recalled tense moments when Hugh would disappear for days, only to return hollow-eyed and shaking. By 1993, his addiction had cost him his marriage to Angela and endangered his relationship with young son Sean. Despite multiple stints in rehab, including a $100,000 treatment funded by his desperate father, Hugh couldn't break free. In a final act of despair, the 32-year-old actor took his own life in his Pacific Palisades home in 1995, leaving behind a note that simply read, "I can't fight anymore." The tragedy transformed Carroll O'Connor into a fierce anti-drug crusader, but also left him broken. "I saved Archie Bunker's family every week," the grieving father later told reporters, "but couldn't save my own boy." Hugh's modest $500,000 estate was divided between his. When Burgess Meredith arrived in Sparta as Judge Cully in 1993, few viewers realized they were watching one of Hollywood's last surviving Golden Age actors. The man who taught Rocky Balboa to fight and outwitted Batman as the Penguin brought decades of experience to his brief but memorable role. Yet his final years were marked by an industry that had largely forgotten him. Meredith's career spanned an astonishing 7 decades, from 1930s Broadway to 1990s television. His 2 Oscar nominations for Rocky and The Day of the Locust and iconic villain roles should have guaranteed eternal recognition. But by the time he joined In the Heat of the Night, the work had slowed to a trickle. "They remember the characters," he once lamented, "but not the man who played them." Behind the scenes, Meredith battled personal demons as formidable as any screen villain. 4 failed marriages left him estranged from both wives and children. His final years were clouded by Alzheimer's and melanoma. Though he continued working almost until the end, his last role, a 1996 voice performance in Batman, the animated series, just months before his death at 89. The actor's $3 million estate became mired in legal battles, with former spouses and business partners fighting over his memorabilia collection. Today, while Mickey Goldmill remains immortalized in the Rocky statue in Philadelphia, when Bob Penny first appeared as Alvin Pete Pettigrew in 1990, most viewers didn't recognize the unassuming actor, and that's exactly how this reluctant character actor preferred it. Unlike his flashier co-stars, Penny embodied the quiet professionals who form television's backbone, delivering nuanced performances without ever chasing fame. The former English professor turned to acting in his 40s, bringing an intellectual's precision to every role. His brief but memorable In the Heat of the Night appearance led to small parts in classics like Forrest Gump as the history teacher and My Cousin Vinny. Yet Penny actively avoided Hollywood's spotlight, once telling a student, "The best actors are the ones you remember without remembering their names." Penny's personal life remained as understated as his career, never married and without children. He spent his later years teaching Shakespeare at the University of Alabama and mentoring young actors. His modest Huntsville home contained just two luxuries: a prized first edition of Tennessee Williams plays and the tweed jacket he wore in every classroom lecture. When Penny passed at 87 on Christmas Day, 2022, his death went largely unnoticed by the entertainment. When Lois Nettleton brought Joanne St. John to life in 1988, she infused the character with a warmth and wisdom that came from decades of hard-won experience. The two-time Emmy winner and Tony nominee joined In the Heat of the Night at 62, long after most actresses face Hollywood's cruel expiration date. Yet her personal story proved more dramatic than any script. Nettleton's career began as a 1950s golden age of television darling, working alongside legends like Steve McQueen and Paul Newman. Her luminous beauty and sharp wit made her a favorite of talk show hosts, yet romance eluded her. A brief marriage to humorist Gene Shepard ended bitterly, with Nettleton later admitting, "I loved my independence more than I loved companionship." By the time she arrived in Sparta, Nettleton had become television's quintessential classy older woman, playing mothers, judges, and mentors. Off camera, she filled her Woodland Hills home with Broadway memorabilia and adopted stray cats, joking they were the only men who never disappointed me. Friends described her as fiercely self-sufficient, though some detected loneliness beneath the wit. Her final years were marked by a quiet battle with lung cancer, which she concealed from all but her closest friends. When she passed at 80 when Pat Hingle lumbered onto the In the Heat of the Night set as Daddy Roy Eversole in 1993, few would guess this gentle giant had already survived one of Hollywood's most horrific accidents. The veteran character actor, best known as Commissioner Gordon in Tim Burton's Batman films, brought hard-earned wisdom to every role after cheating death decades earlier. In 1959, Hingle's rising star nearly burned out when he fell 54 feet down an elevator shaft. The accident cost him part of a finger and left him with chronic pain that haunted him through 150-plus film and TV roles. "Pain became my constant scene partner," he later admitted. Yet he worked steadily, including memorable turns in Splendor in the Grass and Norma Ray, before joining In the Heat of the Night. Off camera, Hingle's personal life mirrored his resilient characters. 2 marriages produced 3 children, though his workaholic tendencies strained relationships. His modest Carolina Beach house overflowed with nautical memorabilia, a refuge from Hollywood's chaos. Even in his 70s, he refused stunt doubles, performing his own physical scenes despite his injuries. When Alan Arbus appeared as Dr. Atwell in 1992, few viewers realized they were watching a man who had already lived several extraordinary lives. Before becoming an actor, Arbus was an accomplished fashion photographer married to the legendary Diane Arbus, a relationship that would haunt and inspire him long after their divorce and her tragic death. The New York native didn't begin acting until his 40s, bringing a photographer's eye for detail to memorable roles in MASH, as psychiatrist Sidney Friedman in Damages. His In the Heat of the Night appearance came during a late career resurgence, though friends noted he never fully escaped the shadow of his famous ex-wife's 1971 suicide. "We were 2 artists who loved too intensely," he once confessed. Arbus's second marriage to actress Marie-Claire Costello proved more stable, producing 3 daughters. The family's Los Angeles home became a salon for artists and intellectuals, though Arbus maintained a private study filled with his early photography work. Even at 90, he could recall the exact lighting conditions of shoots from the 1950s. Financially secure, but never extravagant, Arbus lived modestly on his residual checks and photography royalties. when he passed at 95. As the final credits roll on our tribute to In the Heat of the Night's departed cast, we're left with more than nostalgia. We confront the complex price of artistry. These 10 actors collectively created television magic while navigating personal storms that would have broken lesser souls. The show's legacy exists in dual realities: the fictional Sparta, where justice always prevailed, and the real world where these performers fought battles with no tidy resolutions. Carroll O'Connor's crusade against drugs after his son's death, Howard Rollins Jr.'s tragic decline, Hugh O'Connor's heartbreaking surrender. These stories reveal the chasm between on-screen heroism and human fragility. What lingers most powerfully are the contradictions: Burgess Meredith's legendary career ending in obscurity, Bob Penny's quiet excellence, Lois Nettleton's radiant loneliness. They remind us that fame is never the whole story, and that the most compelling dramas often unfold off-camera. Some like Carl Weathers found late career redemption, while others like Alan Arbus reinvented themselves entirely. Their collective journeys trace Hollywood's evolution from studio system to streaming era, with all its broken promises and unexpected second acts. Today, as new generations discover In the Heat of the Night through streaming platforms, these actors achieve a kind of immortality their characters might appreciate. Their performances remain frozen in time, brave, flawed, and profoundly human. The show's themes of justice and community resonate differently now, viewed through the prism of what we know about the performers' real struggles. We invite you to honor their memory by revisiting their finest episodes, or simply reflecting on your own favorite moments from a series. Which performance moved you most? Which actor's story surprised you? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more journeys through television history. In the end, these actors gave us more than entertainment. They gave us windows into the resilience of the human spirit, both through the characters they played and the lives they lived. Like the Mississippi heat that permeated every frame of the show, their legacies continue to linger long after the cameras stopped rolling.